definition of insanity is insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy. But the first time somebody told me that, I don't know, I thought they were bullshitting me, so boom, I shot him. The thing is, okay, he was right.
Man, Wasp predicted not only the entire design philosophy of Ubisoft, but also the entire state of discussion about AAA games on this platform. And we, the consumers who keep buying the same thing over and over again, expecting things to change. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is the peak definition of insanity. If I have to sum it up in one sentence, imagine if your friend asked to copy your homework and you gave it to them but told them to change the content to make it look different. It's like that, but they still get everything wrong. I was in the process of doing an in-depth review of Avatar, but during my playthrough, I started to notice some similarities between Avatar and Ubisoft other open-world game. No, not Far Cry, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which also released this year in October. They have the same UI, same main menu select screens, same shop for microtransactions, and it doesn't stop there. But I will get more into it, just how similar a lot of elements are with regards to the core gameplay mechanics, story, later in the video. I have to give a disclaimer. I bought the game with my own money on day one just because I wanted to review the game. I tried to go into the game with an open mind, but was put off by just how awful and boring the gameplay was. At a certain point, after playing for some hours, I just couldn't bring myself to play it anymore. Being a game dev myself in the United States, I would be ashamed if I published a game like this with no new mechanics for returning our original IP. This is a AAA company with millions of dollars, multitude of studios all over the world, thousands of employees with decades of experience between them. And they couldn't even be bothered to change the main menu when they shipped the game. It was the same UI for both Assassin's Creed Mirage and Valhalla. This is the main menu for Splinter Cell Conviction, a game made by the same company that came out almost 13 years ago. This is how low effort and lazy this company has become, and all the devs within them. Selling you a single player game with a shop in order to make you buy higher tier loot just because the entry to experience the game is gated by RPG mechanics. That is why a scummy company like Ubisoft makes games anymore. And don't forget that recently Ubisoft was secretly testing pop-up ads in their games so that people will spend more money while they are playing other Ubisoft games. This is going to be a short and quick impressions video about the Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, because I'm not going to play this game anymore. If I did, I'm sure I would find more stuff that would just make me more angry. That being said, let's take a look at the gameplay. This game has been in development since 2017, and does the gameplay, open world, and story reflect that? No. If I have to sum it up my entire gameplay experience with one video, it's this one.
This is a square. Can you guess which spot that goes in?
The square.
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
Yes. Okay.
And how about this rectangle? That one
Also the square.
that goes in there too.
Yeah.
Up next, we've got this thin rectangle.
The thin
Can you
rectangle.
guess where that goes?
The thin rectangle.
That's right. It goes in the square hole. And up next, a cylinder.
The circle.
I think that goes in
The circle.
the square hole. Now, we've also got this semicircle right here. Do you see a slot that would fit
The semicircle.
semicircle?
The semicircle.
That's right, it's the square hole. Okay. Up next, the triangle. We know what hole that goes
The
into,
triangle.
right?
Triangle.
That's right, the square hole. And up next, we have the arch.
The arch. The
And
arch.
you guessed it.
The arch.
It goes in the square
Oh,
hole.
One of the main mechanics in Avatar is that we get a device called SID, which is used to hack computers, turrets, and the mech suits that the humans use. The skill check used to finish the quick time event is that you have to hold the trigger when it lines up with the bigger circle with the circle on the screen, and hold it for a second for it to complete the skill check. Where have I seen that before? The only difference is that in Mirage it's square and in Avatar it's a circle. Small things like this and the Navi sense, which is just your eagle vision from Assassin's Creed, but is also extremely important for you to navigate the game world. This is a former game director from Ubisoft Toronto, Richard Carrillo, who has since left the company, giving a speech at DGC 2017 about interviewing for video games. But that is not important. What is important is the tank problem. What is the tank problem? It's the whole design philosophy of Far Cry games, of letting the player be dropped in an open world setting with different tools, so they can approach any problem with their own playstyle. and situations so that they can come up with their own solutions to find what they find fun. That design model was made to follow an open world shooter without RPG mechanics in its core design. But when you make a new IP, I'm going to count this as a new IP just for this segment, it has the same arbitrary and unlike mechanics that players had hated in your previous games for the last few years. Maybe you need to change your model. The reason you had fun in Far Cry 3 is that progressively you can get better and better at playing the game. You can create a mix of your unique playstyle which keeps the gameplay loop fun until the end. You are incentivized to be accurate, stealthy, combining chain kills, be creative, and are rewarded for XP for skills accordingly, which in turn makes you even stronger, and gives this power fantasy that your skills are improving not only in the game, but how you as a player approaches every encounter different than the last. But even if you decide not to play the way the game was intended by the developers, you will still be rewarded for your efforts with experience and loot. When the Avatar game pigeonholes you, the player, into a certain playstyle where finding the best gear is the core part of the experience and aimlessly roaming around the open world to give you skill points in order to increase your character level stat to a point where actually start doing damage to the enemy AI, it's not a fun experience. You're not rewarded for combat at all, and you can skip all combat encounters except the mission related ones in order to get better loot. So where's the incentive for me to get lost in this open world, killing random AI and having dynamic encounters that will reward or even keep the gameplay loop fun? The controls are floaty, unresponsive, and have no weight to them. If you guys have played Dying Light 2, Avatar has the same problem with character controls here. First-person traversal is extremely hard to do, and the Avatar game does nothing to improve upon them. I'm going to be combining stealth, open world combat, and hunting into this one section. The reason why I have all of these game mechanics listed into one is that all of your damage output and how much damage you can resist is directly tied to your gear and level, instead of your own skill, so there is no reason for you to go experiment with different weapons on hunting animals or killing humans, as there is no one style fits all scenarios here. You have to keep grinding for better gear in order to inflict more damage on stronger enemies with a higher level, and even animals, because different animals have different levels of armor on them. Stealth is broken to the point where there is no strategy for you to execute, as there are no stealth takedowns of any sort in the game. Even Far Cry Primal had better stealth mechanics than the game that came out in 2023. Enemies instantly know your position if they see their AI companions die, and even if you use your arrows to silently kill them from far away, it's no use. The game forces you to do side activities to grind for gear to level up, where the main story missions are level capped and cannot be progressed, as you are going to die instantly on higher difficulties due to the level difference. There are no enemy varieties, only humans with mech suits and aerial gunships. You don't even fight any other Na'vi during the course of your full playtime. You won't even have to kill all the enemies present in order to capture the outpost, just finish whatever objective that particular outpost has. Even if you are surrounded by enemies, they magically disappear when a cutscene is automatically triggered once you complete all the objectives. But in Far Cry games, you have to kill all the enemies present in order to capture that particular outpost. And if you are under level, you will die in seconds if the base is alerted and the enemies go into hostile mode and perfectly track the player and shoot even if you are running away. There are only 6 weapons total in the game: bows, arrows, spear thrower, sling swing, assault rifle, and shotgun. I'm not going to count the rocket launcher, as it is a pickup weapon and cannot be stored in your backpack. This is a game set in the future, and we are trained by the humans in their weapons and technology. The devs couldn't even be bothered to add some futuristic sci-fi weapons for us to play around with, because that would be asking too much of them. And a lot of people will defend this change in game direction, saying that you are supposed to be playing as a Na'vi using tribal weapons to feel like a tribal warrior. How stupid are you to defend a AAA company's poor, lazy, incompetent game design? The previous Avatar game released for the PS3, which is made by Ubisoft by the way, had 15 different weapons you could play with. And this is me not including the sub-variants of the same weapons, which fundamentally change how their weapons behave and play. This is a game which came out 14 years ago and made by the same company. There are no melee weapons at all for the Na'vi, since they are supposed to be experts in melee combat, but you only see our player characters use their fist for punching stuff. That's it. Is the flying any better? Yes, in fact, I think that is the only good thing about the game, but the novelty of it wears off pretty quickly. You get your flying mount early in the game, unlike in Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. The flying mount is given to you pretty late, when you're almost at the end point of the story. But even though in Avatar you get your Ikran pretty early, it's only main used to get you faster from point A to point B. There are no side activities or creative design related to it. No races or hunting in the sky, just some scripted combat sequences. I'm going to quickly talk about the open world and level design first because there's not much to say there. It is bloated and nonsensical when it comes to directions. We look at using weenies in the game in the design process and game development to direct the player's interests. This allows the player to reorient themselves in the world after getting sidetracked, act as a goal to progress towards, or also show the progress through a level the player may be making. There are vertical platforms which are supposed to give you a sense of verticality, but there are no clear directions to indicate to you, the player, where to go or where the core part of the current objective is. Also, due to the controls being so floaty and have no weight to them, it's really hard to judge how to traverse this world where all looks the same green vegetation without anything to guide the player. This is me missing a jump and thought I was going to die, but just took half damage from that height, which makes no sense and breaks any sort of feeling of danger or engagement.
At least, I hope I get chosen.
Seriously? Right now? You're doing that right now? It's like crazy high, right? Are you scared?
You're not helping.
You have to tell Noah. He'll love it. Hang on. Gotta get a footstool.
The story I gave up halfway through just because there was nothing of substance or anything new happened over my hours of playtime. The characters are boring, and I don't think James Cameron had any involvement with the story whatsoever. Let me take you guys through the first 20 minutes of the game. Let's see if you guys can spot the difference and let me know why anybody, even an Avatar fan, should give two shits about it. You start as a naive individual in a hostile situation surrounded by your enemies, with one or more number of your friends or a random person gets killed by the main villain after a long exposition dump. And after that, you have to run away with your allies to escape into the jungle and work with the local indigenous people to become a warrior to rise up against your foreign oppressors, while violence and death surround you. This has been the same story plot that has been ripped off over and over again by every Far Cry game, and they have James Cameron to consult, and this is what they could come up with. This is the first 20 minutes of every Far Cry game and how lazy a company can be. This is Far Cry 3.
No, stay with me. I have to find Riley and the others.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
It got out of control.
Got out of control.
This is Far Cry 4.
I hate when things get out of control.
One fucking chopper, you couldn't. Here we go. Keep your head down!
This is Far Cry 5. And this is Far Cry 6. I didn't play Far Cry 6 because I know it was bad, but there's a difference in Far Cry 6. Instead of running away, you sneak away. Very riveting gameplay.
I have a family. Wait, don't shoot. Shit.
I'm done. That's it. I'm not going to touch on any more of the stuff with like how regards to story, gameplay, because it's just bad, similar, and highly egregious. And it just keeps getting worse and worse as you keep playing. So, moving on. The other major reason for me making this video is to show you guys how the discourse surrounding honest reviews and content creators on this platform. They are trying to sell you a product that is blatant repackaging with a new coat of paint. Wait a minute. What I mean to say is that AAA companies are using your favorite gaming YouTubers who have subs ranging from 100,000 to channels with subs in the millions. These guys know they're pushing a bad game and they have no fucking qualifications to being honest game reviewers. If you go into the comment section of these videos, you can read a lot of people say they were on the fence about buying this game, but since their favorite YouTuber said that this is a good product, they just buy and consume without even questioning them.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Anyone who defends or doesn't even address what Ubisoft does with their aggressive microtransactions deserve to get their money stolen. I've seen a few content creators on YouTube who show off these Ubisoft store purchases in their gameplay, but not one of them, be it a positive or negative review that I have seen, talks about the microtransactions, not one. I say again, these people have no qualifications to be reviewing video games, or they are scum trying to mislead their fans out of their hard-earned money, while they rarely pray for products they push anymore. Watch this video by Kingard. He talks about why YouTubers push bad products onto their community and our viewers. He does a good job. I will link the video in the description down below. I have played bad games, I have played good games, I have played boring games and everything in between. But the straw that broke the camel's back for me is the fucking UI for the main menu in a AAA Ubisoft game. I strongly believe the game was supposed to be in the third person, but was later changed to first person sometime during production, otherwise the core experience could have been completely different. And this game wouldn't have had to steal from previous Far Cry games to stand out. This is a bad game when you put it up against its own prequel which came out 14 years ago by the same company. This game feels like a garbage cash grab and a platform for microtransactions. Every dev who participated in the development of this game needs to be ashamed of themselves. If I could refund the game, I would, but since I bought it on PlayStation, I don't know if I'll be able to get the refund. I don't know how many people will even watch the whole video till the end, so help me out by leaving a like, dislike, share the video, subscribe, and leave a comment or your thoughts about the video. Thank you.
And then I started seeing it everywhere I looked, all these fucking pricks. Everywhere I looked, doing the exact same fucking thing. Over and over and over and over and over again. Thinking, this time, it's gonna be different. No, please. This time, it's gonna be different.